Have you ever stood in the middle of a roaring crowd, laughing and talking, yet felt like you were nothing more than a ghost drifting through the air? I lived exactly like that for 10 long years. I was a professional nice guy, a validation addict, and a shadow lurking within my own existence every day. On the surface, everything looked perfect, but underneath the suit and the forced smiles, I was slowly vanishing into a void of my own making and fear. Life felt like a desperate game of survival, where I was constantly trying to mark my territory in a world that didn't even acknowledge my heavy, tired footsteps. I tried so hard to be noticed, to be significant, yet I was always pushed to the side by the looming shadows of those who actually possessed true conviction. Every time I reached out to claim a piece of my own life, the world seemed to conspire to keep me small, silent, and utterly, painfully invisible. Returning to reality, I realized I was just the background noise in everyone else's success story, a prop used to fill space in their bright, commemorative photographs. I was the person people forgot to tag in photos, the one whose name was always on the tip of their tongues but never quite made it out. It is a terrifying realization to know that if you stopped showing up tomorrow, the world wouldn't even notice the gap where your soul used to be. My biggest mistake was believing that by pleasing everyone else, I could somehow construct a sense of worth. I traded my identity for a handful of hollow nods. Every time I said yes when I wanted to say no, a little piece of me crumbled away. I was slowly dismantling myself to build bridges for others. I became an addict, chasing the fleeting high of social validation. I thought that if I could just get enough praise, I would finally feel like someone real. But the more I ran, the more I shrank. The world became a giant, overwhelming place, and I was just a tiny speck lost in its cold, indifferent vastness. I wasn't living my life. I was merely playing a role. I was an actor in a play where everyone else wrote the script and I just obeyed. 10 years passed in a blur of performance. I was so busy being who they wanted me to be that I completely forgot who I actually was. Time is the only currency we can't earn back, and I was throwing mine into a furnace just to keep other people warm for a few seconds. I sold my personality at a discount, hoping that being useful would make me lovable. But utility is not the same as value, and I learned that, when you try to be everything to everyone, you end up being nothing to yourself. My soul was a vacant room with the lights left on. Behind closed doors, when the mask finally fell, the truth was even uglier. I was a wreck, seeking refuge in the very things that were destroying me. I traded real connection for digital noise. In the darkness, I sought out cheap thrills to numb the pain of my own insignificance and hidden, deep loneliness. Addiction isn't just about substances, it is about escaping a reality you can't stand. I was chained to pixels because my actual life felt like a cage. I was eating the leftovers of my own life. I convinced myself that I didn't deserve anything fresh, anything healthy, or anything that truly nourished my soul. The nice guy outside was a monster of self-neglect inside. I was kind to strangers but absolutely brutal to the person staring back at me in the mirror. I had a mask for every occasion, but I had no face of my own. I was a collection of habits designed to avoid conflict and pain. Every cheap pleasure was another brick in the wall I built around my potential. I was burying myself alive in a grave of comfort and easy dopamine. I was waiting for a savior, someone to break the chains and tell me I was enough. I didn't realize that I was the one holding the keys. The confrontation came when I couldn't run anymore. On that metaphorical train, cornered by my own shadows, I finally decided to strike back with all I had. But when I finally fought back, I realized the monsters weren't real. They were just projections of my own insecurity, fueled by my refusal to stand tall. The most brutal truth I discovered was that no one was actually holding me back. I was wrestling with ghosts while the real world waited for me. Nobody cares enough to hate or admire you as much as you think. Your disappearance wasn't their fault. It was your own failure to simply show up. I needed to shatter the old version of myself. I had to destroy the nice guy to find the good man hidden underneath the layers of fear. The face beneath the mask wasn't perfect, but it was mine. For the first time in 10 years, I looked at myself and didn't want to hide. I chose to be born again, not through a miracle, but through the violent act of taking responsibility for the wreckage I had allowed my life to become. I started with the small things. Cleaning my space was a declaration of war against the chaos that had ruled my mind for far too long. Discipline is the only hammer strong enough to break the chains of mediocrity. Every rep, every drop of sweat, was a promise kept to my future self. I learned that self-confidence doesn't come from the applause of a crowd. It comes from the quiet satisfaction of doing exactly what you said you would do. I learned to say no without explaining myself. Every boundary I set was a brick in the fortress of my new, growing and undeniable self-respect. I stopped eating the scraps of my existence. I began to nourish my body and my mind with the respect they had been starved of for years. Discipline is not a punishment. It is the highest form of self-love. It is the commitment to not let your temporary feelings dictate your permanent destiny. I was building myself back up, one brick, one habit, one day at a time. The ghost was finally becoming a man of flesh, blood, and will. The silence that used to terrify me became my sanctuary. I no longer needed the noise of others to drown out the emptiness of my own heart. You are not stuck with the person you were yesterday. 10 years of hiding can be undone by one day of choosing to finally, truly show up. When I reappeared, I didn't come back to please them. I came back to be myself. And ironically, that was when they finally began to actually see me. The world respects those who respect themselves. When you stop being a doormat, people finally start looking at you instead of walking all over your soul. I wasted a decade, but I won't waste another second. The sun is rising on a life that is finally, for the first time, entirely mine to lead. You have the power to stop being a ghost. You have the power to break the patterns that have kept you invisible and small for so long. Stop looking for permission to exist. Your presence is your birthright, but your character is something you must build with your own two trembling hands. 10 years of being gone was a long time, but the awakening is worth every struggle. It is time to step out of the shadows and live. Every choice you make today is a vote for the person you will become tomorrow. Don't let your past self cast a shadow over your future. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single act of discipline. Start now, before another year disappears into the fog of your own indecision. You are the architect, the builder, and the resident of your own life. Make sure you build something that you are actually proud to live in. Don't just survive. Don't just please. Don't just disappear. It is time to be seen, to be heard, and to finally, truly be yourself today. The world is waiting for the real you to arrive. Stop hiding. Start living. Your 10 years of silence are over. Now, let your life speak.